Blessed be everyone. Welcome to another Mystery Witch School live stream. I'm so sorry I forgot to make this public. I made it unlisted by mistake, so I'll wait some time for people to come online so that you actually get the notifications. I normally make it public so you know well in advance that there's a live coming up, but I forgot to change it today. Okay, welcome to those of you who are watching. I can see there's another person watching. Welcome to those of you watching the replay. Today we are talking about understanding your magical energy and why it's important to understand your magical energy. Energy is everything. Everything is made up of energy. So it's really important to understand how your energy affects your magic. So welcome for those of you who are watching the replay. Once again, if you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel. My name is Sandra. I have been helping witches for quite a few years now. I've been practicing witchcraft for over 35 years. And I help witches who are struggling to start a practice because a lot of you out there are struggling to start. There's not a lot of covens out there. When there are covens, there's not a lot that make themselves known. Some of them are more secretive, and it can be difficult to find a coven that you fit as well from a personality perspective. So I'm here to help you if you are either new to the craft or you're wanting to deepen your practice. So maybe you've been involved in the craft for a while, but you're just wanting to go deeper into your practice so that you can bring magic and ritual and all of these practices into your life on a daily basis with more ease. So that's what we're after today. Hello, Art of Joy, Merry Meet. Thank you for joining. If you are watching the chat, please join in the chat if you wish. If you are watching the replay, join in on the comments and let me know. What do you do energetically every day to help your energy be nice and stable and strong on a daily basis? Let me know in the chat or in the comments field. I would love to know what practices you do because there's lots of different practices you can do on a daily basis to keep your energy in pretty good shape. Hi, Steve Ball 6971, Merry Meet. Welcome to the show. Okay. So as I said at the beginning, for those of you who've just joined now, we're diving into something all witches want to understand or need to understand, and that's your magical energy. It's your personal energy. So maybe in the past you've done spells or even just rituals and it feels pretty flat. It feels like nothing's happened. It's not generally the spell that is the problem for that. It's generally your energy. So it could simply be that your energy is not aligned with what it is you're doing the spell for. So maybe you've got a little bit of resistance to the spell itself subconsciously, or maybe even a little bit consciously. Or you may just not be channeling your energy very well. You might just be physically low on energy and you haven't been able to get the energy from the universe to enliven you more, to put more enthusiasm in there, motivation and focus. Your energy is going to help with your focus, and the focus is really important for magic. It's also your emotional energy is really, really important for magic. So it's important to have the emotional energy aligned with your spell's goal or your intention for your spell. So we're going to explore how to sense your energy, how to understand your energy, how to work with your own magical energy, and also how to get more energy if you are feeling a little physically flat, because we have biorhythms and we're not always up with our energy. Sometimes we're feeling a bit flat, and that can just be physically. It can also be emotionally feeling a bit flat as at times as well, because we do go up and down a little bit. We do undulate between highs and lows in our lives, and this can affect our magic and our energy work. Okay, hello Salem. Hello Tiktok. Dream journaling and meditation almost every day. Awesome. That's a good technique to do to help keep your energy alive and up. Meditating 3 times a day is great to keep up with your energy. Awesome. Okay. So let's define first of all what we mean by magical energy. Everything is energy, everything's vibrating, everything's energetic. Magical energy is simply directed energy, it's energy with an intention behind it, an emotional energy behind it, and thought energy behind it as well. So you could think of it like the energy that you're carrying every day. So your emotional energy, your physical vitality, your attention to things, and what it is that you're thinking as well. It's unseen. We don't see this with the naked eye, but it does influence how our magic flows. And you've probably felt the differences in energy when you've been to certain places that have maybe an icky energy or a very negative energy compared to places where you've gone and you can just feel that the energy is amazing, that it's just really good chi energy and everything is flowing well and you can feel that. So, for example, if you go to maybe an old abandoned prison, for example, we have one in Brisbane, which is a historic prison called Bogger Road, and they used to do ghost tours there. And I went on a ghost tour there, and the energy there was just so sad. Actually, the energy was really depressed energy, really sad energy, a sense of hopelessness and helplessness and oppressive energy. And you could just feel the oppression in this space, even though it hadn't been a prison for quite a number of years. And what I noticed in this particular place was that not even a moth, there was not even an insect. And this was at night. We went for the ghost tour. So you would expect there'd be some moths around, especially where, Brisbane's in southeast Queensland. It's a warm climate. It was in September, so it was pretty moderate weather-wise. Not a lizard, not a bug, not a moth, not an insect, not even an ant. Could not see, well, ants don't come out at night, but could not see one living creature there at all. The only thing there that was alive probably was some grass. It was so oppressed and so dead in that sense of energy. And you'd go into the prison cells, there'd be a lot of graffiti there, and you'd just feel the heavy weight of the oppression there. Because back in the earlier days in the 1800s, they used to execute people there too. So there was just this horrible, horrible energy. Contrast that energy to going over to there's an island east of Brisbane called Stradbroke Island. There's this really beautiful natural place there called the Gorge, and where you get the waves hitting up on the rocks, and it's absolutely amazing. The energy is just so strong and vibrant and alive, and you just feel like you could do any spell there and it's going to happen because it's just such strong energy. There's another ley line near Brisbane as well, where the Glasshouse Mountains are, and these mountains have been ceremonial mountains for hundreds of thousands of years to the Aboriginal people, and they're mountains of where people would come together and celebrate. And when you go to those areas and you maybe even climb one of those mountains, it's such a strong, strong, high energy. Like it's really vibrant, and you can feel it. And you'd feel that anything that you did there, any type of spell you would do there, would just happen. You wouldn't need to use your own energy at all because the place is so alive with this beautiful, uplifting energy. So that's something you've probably experienced. Let me know in the chat or the comments field if there's any places you've been that where you've felt that contrast, like really dark, heavy energy and then really great, vibrant energy. Because that's you sensing the energy of the environment that you're in, and what can happen is that energy that you're of that environment can actually affect your energy as well. We tend to start to resonate with the energy of the space that we're inhabiting. So if you spent too long in that old abandoned prison, which is now just a historic site, if you spent any time there, you could end up becoming very, very oppressed, very depressed, and probably really would affect you really, really negatively, just simply because the energy is overwhelming and you'd have to do a lot of work on yourself, like a lot of meditating, a lot of high vibe work on yourself, just to stop yourself from actually getting caught up and going in sync with that energy. So when we do go to do spells or rituals and we're wanting to work with an environment, you want to go to those environments that have that really uplifting, high energy, like, Stradbroke Island or something similar wherever you are, where there's a lot of nature there, and that nature is actually really bringing that energy out. It makes it easier for you then to do your spells and to do your rituals when you've got nature there helping you along the way, and the environment outside of yourself happening around you. And what will happen for you is then you start to vibrate with that same energy. So your energy is going to then be uplifted. It's going to be really high vibe and excited and enthusiastic, because you're blending and assimilating with the energy that you're in. So that's a great way to get an energetic pickup. If you are feeling flat, you want to do some good magic or ritual, go find somewhere in nature that's got that high vibe energy. Okay, Tictome says, I ground and center, and then I work from the top with a light from above, and I visualize the light going down through my energy centers, and then smoke with rosemary twice daily, and reinforcing the energy, and the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram a few times a week. Awesome. Great way to keep your energy nice and uh, protected, actually, from the environment around you. Because while it, in the law of attraction sense and in the new agey sense, it's not supposed to be positive to talk about protection, what these sorts of rituals do is they do protect your energy, because wherever you go, you're going to go into some sort of energetic arena, and that energy is going to be something that you're going to feel. And due to our nature, just our normal human nature, we will blend in with that energy unless we're protecting ourselves in some way and keeping our energy ours, so that we can go into those environments and not be so affected by them. You work in healthcare. Oh, so yes, you definitely need to do all of that work if you work with healthcare, because there's a lot of dark oppressive energy when you're dealing with illness and sickness, unfortunately, because it's being sick, being ill, being injured is physically horrible and unpleasant, and that energy can really bring you down. It's those places like hospitals and that aren't very good places to recover from illnesses, because they're so weighed down with that energy. And you, unfortunately, a lot of the lower astral beings that feed off negative energy like to go to those places like prisons and hospitals, mental institutions, because they feed off a lot of that energy, which is something you do have to protect yourself from if you work in those environments. Hello, Ollie from Ireland. Welcome. An ancestral land for me there. Okay, so that's what energy is. It's always moving, it's always shifting. When we feel it's blocked, it's not so much that it's blocked, it's just like it's pinched off, really, or scattered, or low or flat. The magic can actually feel a little bit can be ineffective totally, and it can be very frustrating. But when it's flowing freely, you can feel more powerful and more aligned. So it is a good idea, if you need to go somewhere where the energy is going to support you in what it is that you're doing. Now, sensing your own energy is the next thing I want to talk about. And this is about body awareness. So paying attention to your body and just noticing right here, right now, where there's any tension in your body. Now, a lot of us feel tension in our neck and shoulders. Often that's because we're sitting all day. Neck and shoulders, of course, is the throat chakra, and that can be also the tension of self-expression, not being able to express yourself the way you'd like to express yourself, feeling you're always having to, be aware of what you say and what you do when you're in social situations. You might feel a sense of heaviness somewhere, or there might be other parts of your body that are feeling quite light. And this can just give you an idea of how your energy is flowing. And so if you think of the chakras and you think of where you're feeling the tension in your body, because each part of the body is associated with one of the chakras, you can sort of sense where that energy in that chakra may be a little bit either underactive or overactive, and do work on that on a daily basis, such as centering work or doing chakra work as well. Tikton was talking about visualizing the light going through the energy centers or the chakras, which is a really good exercise to do every day. When I was in my first coven, we used to do what was called a grounding and centering exercise, and that was going through the chakras and doing that on a daily basis just to feel aligned, to be balanced physically and mentally and emotionally. It could be really helpful. But if you notice that there's tension in certain parts of your body, then that chakra is probably either overactive or underactive, depending on what it is you're experiencing. Other kind of energy in your body is emotional energy, and that's probably the most powerful one, apart from the physical vitality energy. So if you're feeling a bit off, maybe you've got a flu or something like that, your physical energy is not going to be, 100%, and you may feel low on energy. It's not a good time to do spells and magic work when you've got the flu, or you've got a virus or something that's making you feel unwell like that, because you're not going to have a lot of energy. You would have to get a lot more energy coming from the universal energy field to do any spells or magic, and you don't want to deplete your own energy doing magic either. So yes, your physical health can definitely affect your magic, so it's really important to keep healthy and to do what you need to do to try and maintain optimal health to the best of your capacity. Then there's the emotional energy, which is also really important. And for a lot of people who aren't necessarily maybe struggling with any physical health problems, the emotional energy can be the problem. And so you may find that there's days when you're feeling flat, and that could be because you're feeling flat on an emotional level. There's emotional stuff there that may need to be looked at and addressed. There may be some inner work or some shadow work that you may need to do to find out, what's the emotional, what am I reacting to? What am I telling myself? So that your emotional energy then is in check. You can see what it is and then do something about it, because your emotions are going to affect your energy for sure. Absolutely. 100%. And as I said at the beginning, the way you respond to your environment is going to be something you're going to experience energetically as well. You may find that there's some spaces where you just can't go because you feel the energy drain. There's a huge shopping centre in Brisbane, and it's just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I used to live in that suburb where the shopping centre is, and I used to go there every day, and I didn't feel anything unusual. I went there recently, having not gone there for quite a number of years, and the energy was so overwhelming because there were so many people there. It's huge, and there was just people everywhere, and it was a buzzy energy. It was a buzz, 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 and it was making me feel energetically anxious because there was too much buzz going on, people shopping, people looking for stuff, all that kind of, it was a bit like a frantic energy. I'd hate to go there Christmas Eve because it would just been absolutely crazy. But it did. I really was tuning into the energy just out of curiosity to see, okay, what is the energy like here? Because I could feel something uncomfortable. And it was the buzz was insane. So it wasn't a very positive energy to be in because it was a scattered energy. There was no focus there. It was all scattered here, there, everywhere, because so many people coming together looking for different things. Of course, it's going to be scattered energy. So that is something that I noticed did affect my personal energy there. And I was having an emotional reaction to that, which was affecting my energy as well. So if I was to go and do some magic or to do a ritual after having just gone to the Chermside shopping centre, I would have had to actually really grounded myself. I would have had to have done some kind of reinforcement of my energy field. I used to do the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram every day. It's a great ritual. And, do something like that just to ground my energy. In fact, I'd probably even create a circle if I had to do a spell or ritual straight after going to somewhere like Chermside Shopping Centre because it was just crazy, absolutely crazy energy. So, what you can do as an exercise is just close your eyes and take a nice deep breath in through your nose, let it out, place your hands on your lap, and just imagine that there's this ball of energy in your core. So this could be in your heart chakra or it could be in the solar plexus. It's usually one of those two, depending on what you're doing with the energy. With the heart chakra, you might want to create a field of love around you. So you imagine the energy in the heart chakra getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until it totally surrounds you with a green light. You could imagine it's a pink light, rose light. It could be even a golden light if that feels better for you. Heart chakra is generally a rosy pink or green energy. And just that you're immersed in this cocoon of energy coming from the heart chakra. And that's very protective because it protects you with very, very loving energy. And love is probably the most powerful energy ever. It's incredibly powerful, and I know that in the more, sort of trending, darker types of witchcraft and those sorts of approaches, love may seem to be a bit wishy-washy, but it is an incredibly powerful energy, and you can really dispel a lot of negativity just by having love energy around you because it is so powerful. It transforms. If the soul you're using your solar plexus as the energy field, that's really to help you feel more confident and to project yourself more confidently, more assertively in the world. So you might be going into an environment where you feel you need to be more assertive, you need to be more confident. You can then project energy around you from the solar plexus as well, which would be like a golden or yellow kind of energy that you could be cocooned in as well. I would blend that with the heart energy. So if you're doing a meditation, you can imagine the heart energy going out first and then the solar plexus energy going out second, so that you've got also that positive, loving energy there too. That's incredibly helpful. Other ways that you can play with your energy is to create energy balls. So all of these things I teach in the Mystery Witch School Academy. Energy work is actually the very first thing we do in the Mystery Witch School Academy. It's like module 1 is energy work, and that's because it's just so important to understand energy. And creating, you've probably done this one where you've created energy balls in the palms of your hand because we have a lot of energy coming out and oscillating from the palms of our hands. And this has been measured and building that energy. There's a number of different ways that you can build the energy. You can just pulse your hands together like this and feel the energy grow and get bigger and bigger and bigger. You can imagine taking in energy from the crown of your head. So that's taking in the universal energy. So as you breathe in, taking in that energy, it goes down your spine to where your shoulders are, down your arms and into the palms of your hand. Some people even direct it from down into the heart chakra and then out to the arms and into the palms of the hand. And you're just creating energy balls that get bigger and bigger and bigger. You can charge those energy balls with an intention. So you might want to throw out the energy of love into a space. So you'd build your ball, you'd focus in the energy of love, the feeling of love into that, and then you throw it out into the space and let it go. If you're charging talismans or amulets, you can build an energy ball, a little one, and then focus that energy into the talisman or into the charm and imbue that object with the energy of your intention. It could be the energy of safety and protection, or if it's a talisman, it might be the energy of abundance and feeling what it's like to have all the money you'd ever want or ever need to be able to do the things you want to do and have. It could be the energy of love, if you're making a love talisman. It could be the energy of healing, what it's like to feel that healing vitality, what it's like to feel health and healing, projecting that into the talisman and wearing that if you're using it for healing, or you're giving it to someone else as a gift, a magical gift, if you feel they need help with healing or love or prosperity or whatever it is that you're creating. You can do all of that just by building energy through the palms of your hand and then putting your intention into the energy and then just projecting that energy out wherever you want to project it. You can do the same thing with the elements. You can change elemental energy in your body through pore breathing, which is something else I teach in the Mystery Witch School 101. If you've got too much fire energy, so maybe you're somebody who gets a lot of migraines, or you get a lot of hot flushes, or you find that you're angry a lot. Anger is something that you go into a lot, or even anxiety, because anger and anxiety can be very, very similar. You may have too much fire going on in your energy field. So a great way to balance fire is to add some water. So you can imagine you're breathing in this blue wetness of water through the pores of your skin, and that will help balance your fire energy. You might find the reverse. You may have too much water and you may need to balance that with a bit of fire. The same with earth and air. You may be too grounded, which means you just feel stuck. You may find that you might need a little bit of water maybe to help, or you might need some air to lift you up. So this is getting to know the elements and the energy of the four elements and how that works energetically in your body, and using your ability to manipulate energy to transform those elements to balance them out. If you learn more about balancing the elements, which is something I teach in the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy, you can go into a space that might be very fiery. You know, people might be arguing in that space, or maybe there was an argument in that space and everything's still feeling a bit tense. You can go into that space and either throw energy of love into that space, or compassion into that space, or peace into that space, or just water into that space to help water it down. When I was learning these techniques myself way back, I would practice in places where I was working, and I would bring water energy and peaceful energy into the place where I was working, and that would change the energy. I even tried it when I tried it on a bus once, which was a big mistake because I was working with the fire energy that time. And so I'm practicing this breathing in the fire energy and letting the fire energy out, just to practice working with fire. Anyway, an argument ended up happening on the bus. So I thought, oh, I shouldn't be doing this on a bus, because it seemed to, it was disturbing more volatile people on the bus. So I ended up then having to go and do the water thing to water that down. So be careful when you do play with energy, what type of energy you're playing with, because it will affect other people around you if you're throwing it out into the environment. So yeah, be careful, particularly with the fire energy, where you practice that, because you can make people around you a little bit volatile and argumentative. So that's a way that you can work with energy there. I'm just going back to the comments now. I feel like my lower centers are often clogged. They always need extra work. And look, they usually are the most clogged of all of our chakras. In the New Age movement, it's very common for us to work on the top four, like the heart chakra and the throat chakra and the third eye. Everyone wants the third eye opened, and the crown chakra, right? The problem is none of those chakras can function properly if the lower three chakras are blocked, and generally they're blocked for all of us, because the lower three are how we survive in the world, how we cope in the world. And a lot of our conditioning and programming from our upbringing blocks those chakras. The lower chakra, the root chakra, can be very blocked with survival concerns, being safe in the world. They can be blocked with a lot of negative beliefs about your right to be here on planet Earth. your right to have things, your sense of deserving to have physical needs met and comforts met. It's very strongly related to money in that survival sense. And if you're living in a place of scarcity and you've grown up in scarcity, then that chakra is going to be really, either it's going to be very sluggish or it could be overactive. Your second chakra, the sacral chakra, is all about desire and emotions and allowing yourself to feel, being in tune with your feelings and being in tune with your desires. And we've been told, particularly by the Eastern traditions, that we're not allowed to have desires. They're misinterpretations, of course. The teachings aren't about not having desire. It's about the desires basically overtaking you and being attached to the desires. So a lot of us, particularly in the New Age movement, want to totally deny any desire because desire is seen to be of the ego and everything of the ego is bad. Therefore, you have to suppress it, oppress it, pretend it doesn't exist, and go up into the higher chakras, into the crown chakra immediately, and connect with the Godhead or something. You need to connect with your desires. From a magical perspective, we're here to create. We're here to create and experience life. So we don't want that chakra blocked by not attending to our desires and how we feel about things. And the solar plexus is about our assertion in the world and being able to communicate in the world in a confident way, to be able to be ourselves in the world and express ourselves physically in the world. So these chakras are always blocked. And that's why I have a course called the Wheels of Empowerment that actually helps you unblock all of those chakras, particularly the lower three, so that your upper chakras can start to shine. You can start to see more in your third eye because it's not being blocked by all of these beliefs that you can't have it, you don't deserve it, you shouldn't want it. All of those things will actually stop your third eye, and it will stop your vision. It will stop you from being able to be as intuitive as you want to be. So so that's the Wheels of Empowerment course, which I didn't have any intention of talking about today. But if you're interested in unblocking the chakras, the Wheels of Empowerment course is on my website, and you'll also find it in the description field below the video. Okay. Crystal shop in Salem. High energy? Yeah. Can you work the energy outward through the sacral center? The sacral center. You could. You could. You can work the energy outward anywhere, really. It just tends to be more the heart chakra and the solar plexus. But you can work it out through the sacral center. When we're doing spells and magic, it's often the sacral center and the throat center that are doing a lot of the work. Can energy heal me? I have lots going on. Yes, energy does have the potential to heal, for sure. So if you're wanting to go down that route of healing, then do a lot of research on energy work and healing. Joe Dispenza's work's very, very good, particularly if you're wanting to do it on your own. And also Lynn McTaggart has some great books on group effects of healing. So I think one of her books is called The Power of Intention. Her book called The Circle of Eight is particularly about groups of people of 8 getting together and focusing on one intention together. And often that involves healing, physical healing, or it may involve prosperity for a particular person. So they would pick one person, and they'd all, as a group, focus on whatever that person was wanting or needing. And they had a lot of good results. And she sort of handled that quite a bit more scientifically because she was very skeptical of all this stuff before she started. So yes, chase up Lynn McTaggart and Joe Dispenza. Yeah. So Ollie, you had a brain tumor. Oh my goodness. So were you able to overcome that? Okay. How to work with your energy is the next thing. I've taught you a little bit about that, working with the heart and working with the solar plexus. But what you want to do is you want to be in tune with yourself every day. So when you wake up in the morning, just ask yourself, where am I right now, as in your energy? And, are you feeling enthusiastic for the day? Are you feeling like you just don't want to get out of bed? How are you feeling in your energy physically and also psychologically, emotionally in your energy. It's great to do a morning practice. So whether that's a daily practice that involves connecting also with spirit or with the gods, or whether it's just a grounding practice to ground your energy, doing the work with the chakras, doing the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, or just doing any type of energy that work that's going to help ground you, tai chi, qigong, anything like that is great to do in the morning to help ground you. Particularly if you're feeling a little bit anxious, grounding is really helpful for anxiety. Doing the clearing, so visualizing the unwanted energy leaving your body or space and positive energy coming in. So you may see the unwanted energy as dark gray kind of energy, and you can breathe that out. And when you breathe in, you're breathing in maybe white light or golden healing light, so that you're exchanging the negative energy with the positive energy, and you use your breath with that. So breathing out the gray energy and breathing in the light colored energy to recharge. There's lots of different things you can do, and I have those sorts of things in my courses, the Wheels of Empowerment course, and also the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy course, which is the course on witchcraft. And amplifying your energy as well. Like, what type of energy do you want to have? Do you want to feel more joy? Do you want to feel more calm? What do you want? What energy do you want to have? And then if you can't cultivate that emotionally through imagining maybe something that makes you feel joyful or something that makes you feel calm, go to a memory of when you felt calm or when you last felt joy. Go back to that memory and allow yourself to feel into the feeling of that memory. And then you can create yourself a trigger so that when you are feeling flat or something, all you have to do is use the trigger to get that emotion back. This is a hypnotherapy technique. It's also an NLP technique. So your trigger could just be putting your thumb and your index finger together so that when you're feeling into the memory of the joy, you put your fingers together like that for about 15 seconds, and then you part them, go back into the emotion and feeling the joy again, go back into the memory if it's a memory you're using. Once again, bring your fingers together for 15 seconds as you're feeling the height of that joy, and then do it again, repeat it. So you repeat it 3 times. And so whenever you then need to want to feel more joy, if you're feeling a bit flat, you can just put your fingers together, and that will help tell the subconscious mind to go into a joyful state. And the more you practice this, the stronger it will work. There's no point in doing it and then not using it. You need to use this every day then. After you've set it up, you need to do it every day for at least 21 days to reinforce to the subconscious mind the trigger. So that's a NLP hypnotherapy trick that you can use. And look, there's a lot of common things between hypnotherapy and NLP with magic. A lot of the techniques that magicians have used for, hundreds of years are also used in hypnotherapy and NLP. So you can amplify your energy as well by using your imagination and either using memory or just using what does it feel like to feel powerful? What does it feel like? And imagine what it would feel like to be powerful. Put yourself into your imagination and step into that version of you that's feeling powerful. Even if you've never felt powerful before in your life, you can imagine what it might be like to feel powerful. You can imagine stepping into a character maybe that you've seen in a movie or you've read in a book that was very powerful and you could relate to that. Imagine them. What would it be like to step into their shoes and experience what that power feels like for you? It will change your energy. And all of these things you can then do when you go to do a spell or you go to do a ritual. You can charge yourself up emotionally by doing a trigger or by imagining what it would be like to feel like a powerful person and then go and do your spell. You can use the energy balls and the energy work in your spell to charge up the candle. Even if you're doing candle magic, you can put that energy into the candle, into the talisman, into your sigil if you're doing sigil work. This is how you use the energy in your magic and in your everyday life. Your life will be all about energy. And also that know thyself, knowing your energy, knowing why you're feeling the way you feel, and then being able to change the way that you feel into something you want to feel. You don't have to be stuck feeling a particular emotion. You can actually change the way you feel. This is one of the most powerful things about us human beings is we can change how we feel. We're not at the mercy of our emotions. We can change the way we feel. It's not easy. It demands work. And when you first start doing it, it's hard. And there's a part of us that kind of it gets actually chemically, physiologically addicted to feeling bad. We're also set up naturally to focus on the bad too. It's a bit of a survival technique, focusing on the bad. So we tend to gravitate towards focusing on the negative biologically, and also because we end up wiring ourselves so much to that. Our emotions are chemistry, they're going through our body. And we do actually get so addicted to a particular way of feeling that it's very hard for us to then jump out of that way of feeling. And when we don't feel that way, we feel uncomfortable. And so we go back to that old way of being. And this is something that you can change over time by focusing on what feeling you actually want to have. And as hard as it may be to change your feeling, to feel joy when you're feeling sad, if you want to feel joy again, that's how you do it. You actually go back to a joyful memory, or imagine what it would be like to feel joyful, or step into the shoes of a character that you have seen in a movie or a book that is joyful, and bring that joy into your body. It will totally change your energy, and it will change the magic around you. You'll be vibrating differently when you do that. It's not easy. We all go through hard times, we all go through difficulties, and we all feel like all the scale of the emotions. Um, but we don't have to get stuck in a rut of negative emotion when it is something that has been created through thoughts and beliefs and assumptions. Okay, so I'm not talking about necessarily chemical imbalances in the brain that might be caused by a bad diet or other things that might be going on. This is stuff that's caused by psychological influences and energetic influences that are coming from our environment and also from our upbringing. This will totally change your energy. When you go into doing a spell or a ritual, you want to make sure that you're going in with an emotional state that is above 50%. You don't want to go in feeling anxious. You don't want to go in feeling depressed. You want to go in feeling at least neutral, at least confident that something good can come out of this. You don't want to be in that negative state, and you certainly don't want to be depleted of energy when you go into doing spell work. A way that you can grab some energy from the universe is to imagine that you've got tree roots going down from your feet or from your spine into the ground, and on the in-breath, you just draw some energy up from the earth up into your body and feel that energy then disperse into your body. You can do the same with the universal energy field coming in through the crown of your head, breathing in that energy and allowing it to disperse around your body. And then anything you don't need, you can take back down into the ground. So there's other ways you can bring in energy is through breathing in through the pores of your skin, whatever energy you're wanting to feel. If it's just energy of the universe, you can breathe that in through the pores of your skin to give yourself a boost. If you do Qigong or Tai Chi, you're bringing that energy up from the earth. And if you do that every day, it's really going to help your energy. Okay. Let's go back to the comments and see if there's anything new here. Hi, ProLef. Thank you for subscribing. Okay. What have we got now? Oh, another comment. I recovered. Oh, good. I had the tumor. I'm 38 now, but as I say, I'm still having sight here, and I have no balance. So I don't know what energy would help. I think there is definitely get into Joe Dispenza's work. I think he may have even had a case study of a woman who had issues with balance. Um, Yeah, definitely get into Joe Dispenza's work because he just explains the science behind it. So it's not just sort of like woo-woo stuff. He actually does talk about the science behind it, and it even gives you examples of the fMRI of how the brain changes and stuff energetically. And he really does help take you through things that you can do to help change, particularly physical ailments and physical things. His focus is particularly on health and wellness. So definitely check out Joe Dispenza's work. And all this you can do yourself, of course. You don't need anybody else to do energy work for you. It's about you doing it for you. There is another author as well, but I'd say Joe Dispenza is probably the better one to go to because he really does explain things really well. Okay. Um, okay, so yes, if you are ready to unlock your energy, to practice witchcraft, to feel your magical flow, to bring magic into your life every day with ease, then do sign up for the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy. It is my 12-month course on Wicca and witchcraft. It's a very eclectic form of witchcraft that comes from a Wiccan background or a Wiccan base. It's not necessarily Wiccan, as in you have to be Wiccan. It's just it takes that form because it's a very useful form to practice within. And it's the one that I came into witchcraft with and still use because I've just found it to be a really great form to work within. And that way, then you're learning a lot about magic, you're learning a lot about working with energy. And also, from a spiritual perspective, you're working with connecting to nature, connecting to the deities, and also connecting to yourself as well. So, what this practice then gives you is that sense of purpose in your life. It can help get you tuned into what your purpose is. It can get you tuned into more meaning in your life because life starts to become a adventure. It starts to become an energetic adventure, and you're starting to create more of the things you want in your life, and you start to take back your power again. So it's a way of feeling more empowered. And so I offer that. It's a 12-month course. You get a module every month. It's drip fed, so you can't rush ahead in the course because I want you to practice the practices for a whole month before you move on to the next practices because it's the only way you learn. The only way you learn is to practice. And I do start right at the very, very beginning because a lot of people haven't had any exposure to this sort of work. So I start right at the beginning with the energy work that we've been talking about today, and then working and building on that with each module. You'll build on the energy work, and then you get to the point where you're doing magic, working with the Sabbath energy, working with lunar energy, and working with various different deities as well. So that's the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy. There's a link in the description field below this video, and you can also find it on my website, mysterywitchschool.com. And I'll put it in the chat as well, if I can find it. Okay. Okay. Filling in the holes I had in my knowledge from being self-taught. Awesome. Thanks, TikTok. So I'm filling in the holes. That's what I want to do. It's because when I first started doing witchcraft, and even when I'd been on the path for quite some time, I felt there was a lot of holes and there was no way that I could find the witchcraft way of filling in those holes. So I ended up going to other spiritual traditions to try and find those holes. And I did find them in things like Buddhism was helpful, and some of the Sufi stuff and Gurdjieff work was helpful. But what I found really helpful was the quantum jumping and also the identity shifting work that's come out of that and the quantum science and the energy healing work that has been really helpful as well. Okay, which alternatives for spices and candles are best for leading me to understanding my magical energy better? Alternatives for spices and candles. If you want to understand your magical energy better, you don't need to worry about candles. You don't need to worry about spices. You're just working with yourself. So understand your energy, tune into where you're feeling blocked in your energy. So that could be tension in your body. So start physical, start with something that's easy to identify. You might have tense shoulders, for example, or you might be a bit stiff in the back of the neck. You might get headaches. Uh, where in your body do you feel tension? Play with just rubbing your palms together and then just pulsing your palms like this to see if you can get a sense of the energy between the palms of your hand. And just play with how big you can make that energy. And does that feel like there's something there, there's an object there, that when you try to bring your palms together, there feels like there's a bit of resistance there as you keep building the energy. There are ways to play with your energy and understand your energy. More on chakra energy, I do have a free masterclass. It's also on my website, mysterywitchschool.com, in my freebies tab, or you can find it below this video in the links for the free stuff. And that's called How to Heal Your Shadow Through Balancing Your Energy Centers. And that's all about the chakra work and shadow work and how that works together. That's a free masterclass. So you might be interested in that one too. So take a look in the comments field and description field underneath this video, or just go to my website, mysterywitchschool.com, have a look at the freebies tab and see what's there. Okay. Lots I didn't realize I didn't know. Yes, well, same here. There's lots I didn't realize either. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so that's it for today. Oh, welcome to the 1st of December. So that's it for today, and we will see you again next week. Hello from New Hampshire. Hi, Sunbeam. Did you just join us? Well, welcome. And you might have to watch the replay because we're going to close now. So thank you, everybody, for coming along. I will see you next week for another live stream, and we'll go from there. So blessed be.